What is a FPSO? FPSO means floating, production, storage, offloading unit. Most of the FPSOs were large oil tankers, supertankers, to which a series of adaptations were made to have an oil and gas processing plant. The other part are units built for that purpose. But these require a longer construction time and a greater amount of economic resources. Examples of FPSO units that were originally oil tankers. You can see the characteristics of the oil tankers to which the processing systems have been added on the main deck. FPSO units built for this purpose. Depending on where the plant is intended to operate, designs vary. Some are as radical as the completely circular model shown. What is an FPSO used for? They are used by the oil industry to assist offshore extraction platforms for the production, processing and storage of hydrocarbons. The FPSO concept was born from the needs faced by oil companies in offshore operations because the fields are increasingly farther from the coast, which means greater costs in building the infrastructure to transport the extracted oil and gas to storage or distribution to refinery centers. Initially, floating units were FSO, floating, storage, offloading, which is basically an oil tanker fitted with an anchoring system that allows it to rotate 360 degrees and through which oil is delivered to it from nearby oil rigs through hoses called risers. The oil is stored in tanks and for unloading, the oil tankers are placed alongside the FSO unit in what is known as ship-to-ship operations. That is, the transfer of oil from ship to ship using flexible hoses. Since the extracted oil is accompanied by gas, the next step was to incorporate a processing plant to separate the gas from the oil and be able to use it, with which the FSO evolved into the FPSO. This provided an additional advantage, since an FPSO is almost completely autonomous. This was achieved by incorporating turbo generators that consumed the gas that was separated from the oil to produce electrical energy. In the FPSO, the oil is sent to the processing plant where the various gases that accompany it are separated. The processed oil is stored in its tanks. For unloading, the oil tankers are placed aft of the unit, joined to it with the help of a large mooring line, and the oil is transferred using a floating hose. As mentioned before, the separated gas is conditioned in the processing plant so that it can be used by the turbo generator. The remaining gas can be sent to the adjacent oil rigs for use in their turbo generators. The remaining gases, such as hydrogen sulfide, water vapor, nitrogen, etc., are burned in a flare located at a high altitude. In this slide you can see the interaction between the FPSO, the oil rig, and the oil tanker. The area where the oil fields are located and the quality of the oil determine the variables that will be used to obtain the best performance of the installation. During the development of the project, it is determined whether the tanks will be used to store oil of different quality grades, or whether a mixing plant will have to be installed to combine low-quality oil with higher quality oil in order to obtain better use. The type of anchor to be used, the location of the anchor turret, whether the anchor will be permanent or can be decoupled are taken into account. In short, no FPSO is the same. In this slide we see the turret located inside a space in a cargo tank. Other similar units are floating drilling production storage and offloading, which in addition to being an FPSO is also a drilling unit. Floating storage regasification unit. Floating liquefied natural gas. This vessel stores, produces and converts natural gas into liquids.